All right, welcome. We're going to talk about making some specialty wheels here for one of my projects. We're going to talk about making some baby moons using some tacks here in the background there. I'm using a Core CB design, the classic steel wheels. These are the 20 by 10.5 for the 1/25, 1/24 scale. And we're going to talk about cleaning them up, giving them some paint, and then adding some baby moons. All right, we'll talk about wheel prep for painting. You'll notice that I have the wheels here mounted on axles, so to speak, piano wire. I use K&S 3/32 because these are 3/32 bore. And the reason I do that is once I clean the wheels and everything, I don't want to handle them with my fingers and add more oils to it or anything. So I just mount them on the, temporary little stands like this. Now, as far as cleaning the wheels go, if they're dirty or used, maybe they've got some oil from racing, good old-fashioned Dawn, some hot water, and just a good old-fashioned toothbrush, get it in there and scrub it away. Nothing will take the oils away better than good old-fashioned Dawn. Don't be afraid to use a lot either. So I'm not shy about using a lot of soap. So you can take these, you can just drop them in. Okay, you can let the Dawn, you can let them soak a little bit, and then one by one, just pick them up, start scrubbing, making sure you're getting it all clean right there. Just put it back down in there and soak, and then you can just move on to the next one. Okay, to give them a good rinse, I take them out, I set them on the towel. They still have a little soap residue, and I like to use 91% isopropyl alcohol, just a little jug. Just take it in there, spin it around. You've already scrubbed them pretty clean. That really gives it a really good rinse. And then just set it down and move on to the next one. When these are dry, they'll be ready to shoot. Okay, so I'll let them drip dry for a little bit. And then I just use a polishing cloth, microfiber, whatever. And I just dry the inside to make sure they're completely dry. Okay, and then you notice back here, this little sponge, just a cheap Dollar Tree, Walmart sponge. And what I do is, it's my painting stand really, and just using the axles, poke a hole in there, and it holds them in place. So that's how I'm going to paint them, is just like that. So, these are cheap enough, they're disposable, but over time, they they'll look like a rainbow, but you can change them out, no big deal. So anyway, now these are all clean, they're dry. Now it's time to give them just a little bit of primer and some paint. All right, well, we're outside to paint these because it's a nice day. And I'll paint outside every chance I get. And I like to get right over the tops of the wheels and just give them a light dusting. And a light dusting, just with a primer, is just that, just a quick. And that's just about it. You don't want to get too heavy-handed with the primer. Don't worry about it being even. It's the paint we're worried about. And that's just about enough. Now we'll let that sit here and cure for about 20 minutes. Give it a coat of paint. All right, so while that's drying, you always want to warm up your paint, depending on where you store it. It's just always a good idea. So basically, for today's example, I'm using some Duplicolor lacquer, but I just run some hot tap water from the sink into a coffee cup, put it in there, and just let it sit there for about 15 minutes. And that the paint comes out just a lot better when it's been warmed up. And coffee cups work great. Man, that's a good-looking coffee cup right there. Okay, for the paint, same thing. We're just going to give a light dusting, giving it a good shake, did a test shot, and we're just going to get right above it there. Don't want to get heavy-handed. That's about it. I'm going to let that sit there for about 10 minutes and we'll give it another coat. The reason I'm doing it like this is I just don't want a lot of paint buildup. Alright, so to save some time, I just repeated that process 5 times. Got a nice clean coat, not a whole lot of buildup. You can still see some of the lug nut details, so if you weren't using baby moons, it's there. And since it's nice out and the sun is shining, just going to leave it right here, and we're going to go talk about making our moons. Okay, let's talk about some moons. Now, I found these upholstery nails, and they work really good. Walmart has them on their rack. The other photo there I'll show you is from my local Ace Hardware. They're pretty easily found. And of course, I like the silver ones. And the reason that I choose these over the standard thumbtack is that they just have a better dome shape to them. Just a little bit better, get that focus there, than a thumbtack. So I like those, and they fit the 1/25 wheels almost perfectly. And I also like the fact that it has this longer pin on the end where you can get a pliers on it, and if you want to, like I've done with this one, is you can polish it. So we'll talk about that. Alright, so if you want to polish these a little bit more, bring a little bit of shine, you can do the rubbing compound back here. You can, Tamiya, any really polish will work. And you don't want to put too much, just a little bit on there. And then, you can just use a Dremel with a buffing wheel, and you can just start buffing it. And it really brings out the shine. One of my favorite tools is this small 3-inch mini tool grinder from Harbor Freight. A friend of mine gave me this about, 12, 14 years ago. Still working strong with a little buffing wheel. Have a little polish on there, and you can just get after it and just shine it up. Boy, that just works really good. And man, just a little bit goes a long way. Alright, so you see these wheels. I have some tape on the inside, just a little slice that keeps the adhesive from coming through the other side that we're going to use. And I just use frog tape. Any masking tape will work. And a scissors, cut small squares. Then you can place it down inside the wheel, press it down with your finger, and you're good to go. Okay, so we know we don't want this long of a shank, the end of this nail, to go through here. That's why we put our tape over it like that. So we have to trim this, and that's easily enough done. I mean, I just use a good old side cutters, and you can put it flush right there. Just lay it against, your cutting edge and give it a snip. That's all you got to do. And it just pops away. And now you have just enough of the end right there, as you can see that, is to bite on the adhesive. And that'll do the job. Okay, so for adhesive, everybody has their own favorite, I guess. I like the E6000. Now it's really thick. And you'll notice here that I put a big bead in here, and then I kind of swirl it out because it leaves strings. It's so thick. Don't worry about those strings right now. So I kind of made it really thick. So now I can take our moon, I can put it on here, just drop it down on there, and move it around until I get it right in the right spot. Just takes a little bit of movement. I can feel the adhesive biting onto that end right there, and that's just about good. So I've got this one done, that one done. We're going to do the other two. Okay, so when using this silicone, it takes time to cure. I've let this sit for about 45 minutes. Pretty good. And I went ahead and put the axle back in. And if you have a few strings, a little excess on the outside, don't panic. just take a lighter, get in there, and light it up. And pretty much cleans it all up. Looks pretty good to me. Okay, so I've got the tire mounted on the wheel. I think it looks pretty good. You'll notice I already have a little bit of markings right here. I thought I'd just share that with you using some of the inexpensive apple barrel acrylic from Walmart, Hobby Lobby, whatever. If you want to add a little bit of marking, then you can. I just use the old toothpick trick and just go around here and just add your markings just like that. And yeah, I know they're just dots, but when they start spinning at speed, yeah, they give a nice effect, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. But anyway, hope this helped you guys. Sometimes some classic hot rods and other projects, they're just begging for baby moons, and I love them. So I just thought this would help you guys. I appreciate all your feedback. Look forward to hearing you online.